All right, listen. There is a fat buzz, a fat buzz on this video. Just please give this a shot. Listen, you are going to be fine. I'm sorry. I really am. I just found out how to fix it after, of course, editing this, of course. I just want to let you guys know this is going to change your life. So the least you could do is listen to this little buzz. Subscribe. Love you. You're the best. Let's make money now. This is one of the biggest moments of my public trading career. Finally deciding to create my own model fully influenced by myself, give you guys a chance to look into my brain and have something that I personally can have throughout the rest of my life, live inside the trading space, and hopefully people can take advantage of and do exactly what I do to help them make more money. You watch this because you want to make more money. You are doing this because you want to make more money. Unfortunately, it's not that easy, but with process and with good execution, which is all what this is about, you can see some pretty good results pretty consistently. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that with this strategy. So, main things for me is that this was something that was pretty, I don't want to say controversial for me, but for a long time, a lot of people have certain models they want to use and preach how to use and how to get better with. But in reality, it takes a lot of time to find something that actually works for you, that also works for someone else. So I wanted to make a pretty clear template with a universal aspect to it of anybody could trade this any time frame technically, giving yourself, that personal bias you want to put onto it to make yourself feel a little bit more confident. Because I do think you guys should not just copy paste this into your own thing, but build this into something that you like. But just there's parts of it that you continue to trade around doing it. Just for this, man, if you guys are really looking for something, I've always hated the ICC stuff. I've always hated pretty much all of the model stuff, and that's why I kind of feel weird about dropping a model. But I don't want to say this is quite rebellious, but this is something that you could tap into outside of those very toxic, weird communities where, sorry, where people really kind of get to neglect each other and hate on other people when their concepts don't really even work like that. So this is something for me quickly. If you don't already know too much about me, I am 20. I've been trading since I was pretty much 15 years old. Went to the point where I began to trade options in high school. Started off first trade ever, did pretty good, then lost all of my money, my entire net worth, literally down to $0 on how trying to make money trading. So at that point, stepped away for a little bit, came back into options, really studied, went to a couple seminars, got mentored, everything. At that point, I came back in options trading and I was doing pretty good, and then it picked up closer to senior year. Once senior year hit, I was really raking in money. Then at that point, futures kind of got introduced to me through prop firms and all this stuff. I realized, why would I put my own money in when I could use other people's money and more leverage? So I switched over to futures. And futures are overall better anyways. So at that point, now I'm here and I've always traded supply and demand. I've always looked at price action. I am very intuition based, meaning that, I like to look at all of my trades based off my psychological approach and my experience. I rely on my experience because I've been doing this for 5 years. So that's pretty natural to do. And it's an amazing thing that I have, and I should be taking advantage of it. But in reality, it's hard for me to distribute how to trade to other people when you want me to tell you how to trade off your intuition and you've only been trading for 6 months, So that's kind of the issue with that stuff. That's why I'm kind of pushing this in the model direction of I'm not always going to trade this way. This is not something I'm going to live or die by, but I think it is amazing. Again, I fully created it myself. You are going to see way more consistency within your trades, way more consistency in your profits, and we are going to do this in the best way possible, the most efficient way possible. So we are seeing consistent funded accounts pass. We're seeing eventually those payouts that you've always wanted getting paid out to you. I want this process to be good. I want this, kind of light bulb to pop up in your head as you watch this video and you see, holy shit, like this is really some really good information. It's extremely simple. Once you do know how to do it, the step-by-step process of how to actually take these trades, you can see some insane results. But really quick, I just want to say, man, I'm giving you guys all this stuff for free. This is stuff I've worked really hard on. This is something I've been kind of scared to publish because it's been working so good and I don't even want anything to change. But you guys just please subscribe. I've been working really, really, really hard on this. It's the least you could do. And on top of that, every single week, it's pretty inconsistent, but I try to drop bangers for you guys. Anything you guys need, just like, comment this video, subscribe. I'm going to make you guys profitable. I'm going to do everything I can to get you guys seeing some success within the market. So let's get right into this video. First of all, I decided to call this motto Shadow Supply. Now, it doesn't have anything crazy. I just wanted something that sounds cool, but also is, pretty simple. Of course, there is some supply and demand derivatives that come from this, and the shadow reference just kind of comes up with the idea of that this thing was always in front of you this whole time and you never even got to really look at it. So the overview from this, it is a multi-time frame supply and demand trading model that I made. It focuses on untouched wick-based zones that signal institutional footprints in the futures market. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'll sum this up for you guys, but it's not that crazy. Built on years of trial and intuition and refinement, it prioritizes structure, risk management, and patience while delivering clarity and confidence to discretionary traders. So, if you want a quick overview of what this is, just so that you can decide if you want to keep doing this or not, this is a universal thing that I like to do. Again, we're going to be talking about how to set up that approach, but you can do this on any time frame depending on what you like. This is something that is using supply and demand mixed with price action, mixed with execution, trying to find the perfect entry for your trades, not just getting a setup, then just getting the setup, then watching and waiting for price to actually unfold in the way you wanted it to, then to get in. So it's really good for making sure you're taking good setups. And there's so many times where you'd have a setup that you normally would take, but then you watch as it unfolds and you don't get the model that you wanted, and then it gets invalidated. And then that's money that you would have saved. That's extremely important to have something where you can kind of filter your, overall psychology in one, but also, making sure you're keeping that money in your pocket. But again, my name's Steph. Been trading for a long time. Make a lot of money now. Really happy to be here. And yeah, I don't want to pocket watch you guys too much, but took my account from 30 to now over $70,000 in the last month. Using a very similar thing to this, so that's a good thing too, which is that's a lot of money. So I had to let you guys know. But what is shadow supply? So shadow supply is a rules-based entry model grounded in untested supply and demand zones. These zones are identified by large wicks on higher time frames, usually 1 hour or 4 hour, and treated as areas of institutional aggression. The model is refined by using a 4 times time frame magnification for execution precision. So this is something that I've completely developed myself. Again, I don't know if anybody else does this or how it works for them, but this is a pretty much example of what we're going to be looking at. In the day trading version of this is what we're going to be focusing on today, how you can day trade using this model, because it was built for higher time frame stuff, but in reality you're not going to get the entries you want. It's going to be, a couple days in between your trades, which I don't want to put out there because I hate those ICT setups where it's just like, the guy that takes it and trades that way only gets one trade a week, because he has to see 47 things. So I want you to understand that this is usually meant for the 1 hour to the 15-minute, and that'll make a little bit more sense in a little bit, but this is going to be going over the 15-minute to the 3-minute, so you guys can actually take multiple trades in a day if you'd like to. Once again, as long as the shorter the time frame you go into, the more risky the trade is, because sample size goes down and volatility goes up. So that is the one thing I want you to worry about that. But very simple, we're looking on, in this case today, we're looking at price action on the 15-minute time frame, creating supply and demand levels. Going in on the 3-minute, we're actually looking for our entry then. So core belief, market respects price imbalances. Yeah, I mean, buzzwords. Leverages untouched institutional zones. So basically, again, what we're saying is, and I'm going to give you guys full examples, multiple examples, make sure you guys know exactly how to, right at the end of this video, you will be able to trade exactly like me. I like to look for zones that have not been used already, just because I believe that zones that haven't been used already are more likely to be executed correctly. Multi-time frame confirmation, facts, because we switch between time frames, creates a controlled environment for discretionary decision making. That is the one thing I will say I do like about a model. Once again, I told you guys I don't really trade off a model. I usually don't. I use my intuition. But that's the one benefit I will say of trading with a model, is that you can actually have really no reliance on your psychology and your emotion. It's just a step-by-step process. If you don't get that process, you move on. Very simple. So, zone mapping process. Identify reversal points created by large wicks, zones that resulted in directional shifts. Use that high or low of the wick, or use the high and low of the wick to create a price range. Prefer zones that have not been reached since creation. Again, that is a big thing for me. So again, the mapping process is, we're on the 15-minute. We're looking for large candlestick wicks. A big thing that I want you guys to see going forward, and you won't be able to see until I actually show you guys, but the bodies of the candle plus other wick need to be smaller than marked wick. That's what we'll call it. Or the wick that we actually create the zone off of. So we'll just say mark zone. So what that means is, if we're looking at a bullish candle, I need the bottom wick to be bigger than the body plus the top wick, and that is one thing that will not, that's the only really big filter between which ones you're going to trade off of and not, but that's something I just found that works better. Use the high and the low of that wick to create a price range. Prefer zones, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Bias development. Okay. So this is something that has no clear influence on the trade, but just to get you guys a bias going into today. If price last reacted off a demand zone, you'll be bullish. If price last reacted off supply zone, you'll be bearish. So what that means, and also consider news. That's big as well. So what I like to do before every single day, go on the 4 hour or the 1 hour. If you're day trading, probably the 1 hour. Find the high, find the low of the session. Well, again, we're gonna go over this whole process again, but find the high and the low of the session on the 1 hour. Again, areas where price has last reached, it hasn't been reacted to off yet because I need these zones to be the first time that they've been used. Then at that point, you're looking at the one that price reacted last off of. So if you marked out the high and the low of the session, let's say price is somewhere in here, and let's say more recently it rejected the high. That is the bearish bias that you would have coming into the day. Now, you don't need to only take sells, but just to give you, again, some confidence going forward, if you do see a setup to that side, you'll already be playing with your bias. That'll be really good. So execution protocol. 15-minute candle close with significant wick, top/bottom. Maybe you guys get that. So drop to the 3-minute, 4 times lower time frame. So technically the 3-minute is like 4.3 magnification, but going from the 15 to the 3 is the just do it. Wait for the 3-minute break and close in the direction of the bias. Look for the 3-minute retest. Must close inside the zone. Can wick below if demand, but cannot close below. Final 3-minute candle closes above the retest candle. Enter the trade. Bang. That's literally it. And I know it might sound a little bit. We're gonna write all this stuff down right after we get through the bottom of this, and then you guys will open up way more about this. And I had to put myself right here just so you guys don't read ahead. Stop loss is at the 15-minute low of the wick in a bullish scenario. TP1 would be, or TP is a 1-to-1. That is kind of what I found out worked best. I don't know. Again, I haven't experimented too much with it, but I'm a big fan of 1-to-1. So very simple. Rules and avoidance checklists. Let's just get right into that. Stick to New York session only. So I have experimented with this at night. I actually took a trade with this last night. It actually didn't work out, but I took a trade in New York session that actually hit like 55 points, which was good. It's not good at lower volume scenarios. So throughout New York session, throughout the whole day, you could trade this way. So I'm happy with that. I'm excited about that. But not the greatest during night. That's the one thing I realized. Entry must be under 100 points of risk. This is something that is technically a little bit malleable. You could take a trade if it's over 100 points, but just what I found, if the zone that you're trading off of is over 100 points, it's not really good. So just it's not gonna happen often. So I would just say avoid that. Model can be scaled across time frames using the 4x rule. For example, like I said earlier, this is the higher time frame model that I had for a while. This is something that I would do in the hourly. I'd find my zone in the hourly, then I'd go on the 15-minute and look for my setup. So just how I'm going from the hourly to the 15 is just how we're going from the 15 to the 3-minute. So if you want to trade on the 4 hour and go to the 1 hour, so as long as you just find a zone and then you 4 times your time frame, that is really the universal setup for this. So that's the really thing I'm happy about. Avoid skipping or forcing setups. I mean, that's obvious. Trading bias off emotion. Duh. These really don't need to be too stepped into. You guys know if you do this, you're gonna lose money. Trading during low volume hours. Again, I trade a lot at night. I don't think trading at night is a bad thing, but don't trade this way during night. Of what I've seen. Section 7. Why shadow supply works. Built on liquidity and imbalance theory. So again, I could give a crap less about liquidity and imbalance theory, but maybe if you come from that background, that maybe that'll make a little bit more sense for you. No indicators needed, just pure price action. That is correct, but I'm going to show you one indicator that you really should have. That'll just help you out a little bit. Skills with account size and risk tolerance, again, fully malleable to you, reinforces discipline and structure. And my final thoughts, I can let that empty just because I wanted to give you guys a quick little input before we get on the charts and actually start taking these trades. Big thing for me, biggest thing is that you guys are seeing the results within your process. So it might not happen right away where you start using this, boom, and it finally works. I would recommend that you back test this. Don't use this on your funded account that you care about, right now. Just kind of see if this would work for you. And once you see the way that I'm trading this, I'm going to go literally in a random time back in the day and just give you guys really good setups, showing you guys how this works, showing you guys how I'm trading me. So if you guys, again, I don't want to be one of those YouTubers that everybody just glazes and trades exactly like them. I want you guys to take this. It's a gift from me to you. Again, completely free. Join the Discord and be able to actually see some success with this And again, in that process, it's going to take a while for you to actually get set up to the point where you are taking the same setup as me. And not only that, but you're also seeing the exact same things that I'm seeing to give myself the setups, to give myself the chance to take the trade. So let's get finally into some examples. All right, so this is the trade that I literally took yesterday inside the Discord, alerted this, people took this, people made money with this. This was the first time I publicly took a trade with this, model for people. So it was pretty scary. And it actually played out really well. Yesterday was horrible PA, I'm not gonna lie, but we actually came out on top, took a banger trade, and we went forward from there. So what you're going to do and what the hardest part of this strategy is going to be for you to actually make money this way is finding out exactly when to look for the setup. So the first thing that you are going to want to do again is this 15-minute candle wick potentially closing. So that is where we got our entry right here. We got our entry off of this candle. So the thing about this is that you can potentially set this up every single time you see something of value to you. Of course it's going to change, and I'm going to go over candles that you specifically want to look for this off of. And we already talked about it, but a little bit deeper on how you can make sure that the candle you're actually waiting to see an entry off of is what you're supposed to be looking for, because that is the one thing again about this that is a little bit unknown, and up to the eye of the beholder. So what I wanted to see right here was, again, in most cases, majority of the time, if you can take a trade like we talked about, or if you can actually find something, a 15-minute candle with a bottom wick, in this case in a bullish scenario, bigger than the body plus the top wick, which it was very close, but it was actually smaller, then you could potentially look for a setup off of it. That's really the biggest, like, one thing you could really look for and do. But for me, I really just liked longs here, and that's really what it comes down to. If you can go into the day and like a setup, and you finally get a wick in your direction, that's really when you can start to look. And we're gonna talk about this more and more. Is you can at this point mark it out, and then guess what? You don't have to take the trade. We're not just trading off of a zone or a bottom wick. We're waiting for our setup to actually get played out. And if it does happen, you take it. But if it doesn't, you just move on. And that's the best thing about this. So let's bring this down a little bit just so you guys can see this. But boom, now that we have our 15-minute candle wick close, now this is what we're going to do. We are looking for a 4x magnification of the time frame. So now we're on the 3-minute. You guys see right up in here, 3 right there, boom. Now we're looking for a 3-minute break above. Then we're looking for a 3-minute retest, close inside of the zone. Then we're looking for a 3-minute close above the zone, and my stop loss would go right at the low, and then we run a 1-to-1. And the reason why I have this up high right here over a 1-to-1 is just because it's a little bit easier to see, kind of, when we hit TP, because that's what we do here. Boom. So right away, sorry, there's people mowing outside. It's just, stop it. Okay. Boom. So we have that 50-minute candle close. Then what do we see right here? We see a close above our zone. That's step one of the process complete. We can now check that off of the list. Boom. Let me just do a little bit of 3-minute break above. Bingo. We already did this. We already did this. Okay. So now let's go for the 3-minute retest closed within the zone. And we are actually seeing that come down right here. Bang. Actually, that is not true. It's actually this right here. Sorry. Boom. We had this close right here. So the break above happened here. I have this moved a little bit. Sorry, just because when I was going over this in the live trading call, I had this a little bit moved. But we had the entry right there. We had the break above right there. Sorry. 15-minute candle close, I believe, on this candle right here, which we got the break above on. Let me move over a little bit. Then we had this come down. We had this close inside the zone right here. I know you guys I could zoom in. I just have a little marker. We had the close within the zone right there. Boom. So you guys can see we closed inside of the zone. We had the break above, then we had the close inside the zone. Now all we're looking for at this point is price to come back up. Not only come back up, but close above the zone. And that's what happened right there. We got in, stop loss at the low, run a 1-to-1, and you guys can see was very choppy, was a little bit scary for a lot of the time, but we actually ended up hitting the 1-to-1, take profit for 50 points, also catching really the high of the market open, or of the New York session, which was cool. But you guys can see just really played off this well. Dropped like 40 points, but came right back up. Again, we're just believing in our supply and demand theory. We're believing that buyers are here. We saw them come up, pushed it back up, came back down, continue higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, all the way up till we hit TP, which was really insane. And again, this is the first time that I publicly did this, so it was really cool to see a play, especially go into drawdown, come back up, and play through. That just shows the power that this might have, eventually down the line. Once you guys see the potential with this, is we're catching these moves like this. We want our entries to be powerful. We want our area where we're willing to get stopped out to be strong. We want people fighting for us. We want these fat, institutional old people really, playing the side that we're on. So that is something that's really important. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just close my eyes, run the 15-minute, just move around a little bit, go right here. Okay, boom. Let's see. We're going to start trading just like how we've been, just with examples that I've never seen before, just because I want you guys to get the real thing about this. I'm not here to promo this to you. I'm just here to show you how it works, you know. So I don't care if they don't work out or not. I think it'll be good to go over setups that don't work anyways. But once again, I'm looking for candles that tell me a story. That's all it is. You want to look for the 15-minute candles that show me something. You know, like for example, let's just look at something like this candle right here. This little fat thing right here. No wick or anything. It's just there. It's just there. You know, there's nothing to it. Nothing too crazy. You know, it's just a candle at the end of the day. So a candle like this though tells me something. You know, and I think that just comes down to being able to read PA. You know, it's just really personal preference at that point. But you know, this candle shows me what? It shows me that we had our low right here. We bought back up. We came below that low, broke back up, and closed above. So that shows me there are buyers here. And again, we'd actually be able to take a trade off of this if we actually got a setup. Let's see, because you would potentially be able to mark this out. Why would you be able to mark this out? Because again, really the only rule is that the bottom wick, in this case 4 longs, needs to be higher than the top wick. Now, only problem that I just realized that this is 2 in the morning on a random day. So we're actually not going to take this trade. But again, from a setup standpoint, if that was during the day, I would look at that point for the setup to be in play. And I think that is my favorite part about this, is because I don't need to take a trade off of a setup that I find. I can just wait. And if it works out, I take it. If it doesn't, I move on. Like, that is so, you know, amazing to be able to have. And I mean, boom, we can look at something like this as a setup right here potentially. We have this 15-minute candle, really strong bearish bias. We coming in, we're seeing sells, we see buys pick it up, we see sells come and drop it right back off. Let's go on the 15-minute, see if we got a setup on it. Boom. So we actually did get a setup. So we have actually no, because we didn't get a break below. We did, I mean, we did right here, but I believe this was during the candle being operated. So we're actually looking for the setup going forward now. So we see our break below at this point. Let's go ahead and, because that's the one thing, it is kind of hard to back test it, because on the 15-minute, you know, when you're just backtesting like this, you just mark out this zone. But in reality, it doesn't, you know, you have to look past that. So ideally, the zone where we're looking for this to happen would be off of this candle. So now let's go down and refine this. That's the one thing about backtest that's pretty weird. So we had the break below right here. Now at this point, we're looking for a buyback, a close within this zone, and then we're looking for a break below to continue the down. So let me just set this up for you guys. So we're looking for a 15-minute candle wick. Let's do a little bit bigger than body. I'm just going to say body, just because you guys know what I'm talking about. Now we're going to do the 4x mag, going to the 3-minute, because we took it off the 15-minute. Now we're looking for, in this case, because it's a bearish setup, we're looking for a break below zone, must close outside. I don't know why outside is 2 words, but now we're looking for a retracement or a retest. It's a little bit shorter. Retest back in zone, close inside. At that point, we are looking for a break back below, close below. Then we enter, stop loss at low. That's it. So at this point, let's go through step by step real quick the process. We've seen the 15-minute candle. We've seen, let me move this out the way for you guys. We've seen the 4x or 4x magnification. We're on it right now. Break below the zone. We got that right here. Now we're looking for the retest. Let's see if we get it. Nope. Okay, we got it. Okay, we got it. So we got the retest in the zone. Wasn't very flashy, but this is, by the way, I think around 7 o'clock in the morning. That would be valid for me to take this. Past 7 o'clock, before like 4 o'clock Eastern. So we had the break back into the zone. Now we're looking for a break below to close back down. Bang. Okay, so that is a potential setup for me. This checks all of my boxes. We have a short side of bias on the day just because price is coming in recently to the downside. We have a 24-point SL on this, pretty light on this. So I'm not gonna lie, this is a potential setup. I don't see too many problems with this. I'm looking for a continuation down with this. Again, we saw the 15-minute setup right here. You guys see really strong top wick, shows a lot of sellers above us. That is the thing. When you want to have a stop loss, when you're trading to the sell side, you want to have sellers above you. That's all you can believe and trust in. You know, I know because looking at this, I want my stop loss to be here because if we go here, we're probably going to go here. And that's just going to save me some money, you know, and still give me enough room to actually take a good risk-free trade. The one thing though about trading in the morning is right before market open again, because this is 7 o'clock. I don't know if there was news today or anything, but most of the time, the closer you get to market open, you're going to see increased volume. So out of nowhere, you could get really shaken out of trades. But again, I would recommend you sticking to New York Open. But for the sake of, you know, just showing you guys examples, this is a valid setup. We have a really nice top wick. We go on the 3 minute. We found the break below. We found the retest. We found the break back below. We enter and we get our stop loss at the low. Gosh, I sound like RFK Jr. right now. Holy shit. Okay. Let's see what happens. We're gonna get stopped out. Okay, we got stopped out. I was low-key thinking for a minute we were about to save it. But hey, again, good trades. That's all you can do is you can just look at a setup, get it, take good trades. But you see how many things have to happen before you take the trade to actually see the trade actually happen. That is where someone like maybe you, again, maybe you're in a different position. I don't want to judge you, but maybe you're in a spot where you get a little bit, you know, emotional. You get a little bit, you can't rely on your psychology too much. You get emotional, you take stupid trades. This is something that would really help you out because regardless of how you feel, I could be fucking dancing. I could say I love gambling, I love trading, I love gambling, I love trading while I'm looking for this. And I'm just checking off these boxes. And you could please screenshot this if you'd like to for the bearish setup. Let me just put that up real quick. But you know, you're able to act however you want, you react however you want to react, do whatever you want to do with a model like this because it is completely self-sufficient. All you're looking for is checking off these boxes and you set up your orders and then you just fucking wait. And that's the best thing I love about this. So let's get into more of this. Let's see if we can find more setups as we go. I'm going to keep this just in case we do another bearish trade. But at this point, again, you would just move forward. I want to get a setup where I actually don't get the trade. So let's just go forward. Let's see if we can find something that we like. We find deemable for buys. This is something that would open my eyes to me. Why? Because we can notice that trend recently has flipped back to the bullish side. On top of that, let me go. I can't go one more just because it'll ruin the mystery of it. But the reason why I like something like that. Oh yeah, real quick side tangent. The only indicator I want you guys to use 8 EMA. Go on indicators and just get an 8 EMA. I don't care what it is. Use the 8 EMA. Really good to see where price is sitting. Again, that gives me confirmation into why I would take this trade is because we are above the EMA. On top of that, we have a really bullish candle close previously. We then look at the candle, understand what happened in this candle. We had price open here, fall all the way down, almost to the bottom of this candle, get completely bought back up, and close back above the EMA. That shows me that there are clear buyers underneath me. The trend looks bullish to me. Right now we're seeing consolidation and you have to rely on that, you know, kind of first uptrend. We're seeing consolidation. Now we're kind of chopping essentially. But again, if we get a setup to the side of the current market trend, we can go ahead and do so. So at this point, let's see if we get a break above. Okay, well, we got it, boy, don't you? Okay, this is going to be one where we're not going to get an entry, I don't believe. So this is the one thing that can help you determine if you're going to continue to take trades off of a zone or not. So again, this is only a one-time thing. So once you take a trade off of one zone, you're going to move on, you're going to go forward, whatever. But the thing about this is you want to make sure that once this trade or once price goes over the one-to-one off of this zone, you delete it because it'll get to the point where you're waiting all day for this to play out because technically it could go on forever and come back down and get that entry that we wanted to potentially. But I don't want to do that. That's how you chase and that's how you get stuck trading one side. After this, so again, very clear. Let's just get straight to it. Put on your zone, put a little thing up and see how big the zone is. 13.5 points. If price goes over 13.5 points before you get a setup, don't take the trade. Very simple. That's it. That's it. That's another way to just, again, refine and just take a shot. Look at the chart. Hey, maybe longs don't look bad here. Let's see if we get a setup. Boom. Then we wait and look, we saw this happen and we just got invalidated, but that's fine. We gave it a shot. That's all that matters. And now we're going to go back on the 15-minute and we're going to look for another setup here. So price just chopping. Nothing really there telling me too much. I would want to trade to the buy side. But that is a big old candle. But this is another good example you guys need to see. So you'd see this candle, you'd say, oh my gosh, that's really bearish. This candle looks great. If this candle was 30 times smaller, I would mark this out and look for a trade off of it. But guess what we do? This is how we refine making sure where we're entering trades or not. This zone looks amazing for shorts. Don't get me wrong. But remember what we talked about. this wick needs to be bigger than the body and the top wick of this candle, and that's clearly not it. So we can't take this trade off of that zone indirectly. You can trade any way other you want, but off of this model, you can't. It's not ideal to do that. So that is a way to just keep filtering on what candles I'm actually looking for setups off of and not. So let's see if we get one. Nope. And wow, I wish we should have. Jesus. Okay. The thing is, this candle would be a perfect example of a potential setup for you guys. But thing is, trend looks pretty bearish right now. And that is again where you need to have that kind of cognitive belief in yourself. It doesn't look too hot for me to take a trade off this. I'm not gonna lie. So at that point, for me, it's just really about deciding on if you're gonna take the setup or not. In this scenario, I probably wouldn't take longs. I'd be looking for shorts, but this would be a candle that you could take an entry off of. Okay, so we have a pretty big bottom wick, pretty decent body of the candle, and a pretty small top wick. That's 40 points compared to probably about 65, 60. And you could look for longs here. We'll do it just for the sake of giving you guys examples. But for me, again, I probably wouldn't take this because of the fact that we haven't seen that pure long setup off of the bias, because my bias right now would definitely be short. But okay, so we have that break above right here. Now we're looking for a retest into the zone, and I believe we would have just gotten validated off that already. Let's see. Again, you want to run up, click this, put a 1-to-1 to the zone, see if this is over 60 points. It is. So that boom, candle gets invalidated just like that anyway. So it doesn't even matter. But that's again, just every time you see this, because you're not gonna be looking for anything else, just see what happens. Give it a shot. I'd want to see a nice top wick here. Yeah, nothing crazy just yet. Yeah, okay. I don't mind. I don't hate this at all. We can just check it out. That's the best thing about this, bro. Just being able to just check it out because we have nothing else to do during this time. So literally during this day, because I did this yesterday in the live call. While this is happening, you're just playing Brawl Stars or something, bro, because that's just what it is. Okay, so now we're looking for a break above. Yo, come on. What time is it? I want to say something now, but okay, boom. We got the break above. Step one. This is a good example right here. You guys see this? This is allowed. This is 100% allowed. That's allowed. You are allowed to see the candle wick off of the zone. As long as the close is inside of the zone, this trade is valid. So, for example, what I would mean right here is we were looking for longs off of this zone. So we were looking for a break above, retest, continuation, okay? If this were to break above or just off the rip, close underneath the zone, that trade is invalidated. Cut it off, go to the next one. So that's just another way to refine stuff. Again, good that I picked out this example because I needed that. But let's look at a 15-minute, or let's look at the bullish example of this. So 15-minute candle wick, we got that. Bigger than the body, yes. 4-time magnification, yep. Okay, break above the zone is our first step of this because this is the bullish version of this. So we already went over a bearish example. We'll go over the bullish. We are now looking for a break above the zone. Must close outside. Boom. We just got that. So now we can mark this off of our checklist. Next, I need to actually change these. Is a oopsie daisies. I'm looking for a retest back in the zone, close inside, break back above. I can just do this. Break back above, close below, enter, stop loss at low, 1-to-1. Let me just put that on there just to be sure. Okay, boom. You have the break above the zone. Now we're looking for a retracement. I wouldn't even want to trade this PA anyways. What is this crap? I think we would have already gotten validated off of this just because we went over a 1-to-1. But there is our close back inside of our zone. Let's see real quick. This is a 34-point zone right here. Let's see if we would have ran up 34 points. We would have. So that would have gotten validated anyways, but shit was pretty choppy. But from a entry standpoint, you guys see right here, we got that closed back in the zone. This trade would have been invalidated, but just work with me. I'm just trying to give you guys the step-by-step process. Must close side. Now we're looking for a break back above. Boom. So that's where we would be in longs here if we did not get invalidated off of that. And I don't know where I stand on something like that, coming over the 1-to-1. I just think it's something really good to just avoid over trading. So this would not be an A+ setup for me. But, from a entry standpoint, from the, check boxing, yes, we got everything we wanted to see. And that's something where it's up to you guys. If you still would want to take this trade, you can go ahead and do so. I don't have anything against it, but again, I would just recommend, price action, how we're seeing this move right now, not looking ideal anyways. You don't even need to take the trade. So 37 point SL, 37 point TP. We have the break above, we got the retest, we got the break back above, and now we're entering with the stop loss at the low, running a 1-to-1. It's 1:30 in the PM. This is nuts. Okay, but bang, we would hit TP there. Boom. for 37 points. That ain't that is not worth your time. So just take my word for it. For just if it goes over the 1-to-1, don't even take it, bro. That is insane, PA. This is horrible. But guess what? We beat it. We beat the bad PA, and that's what we did yesterday too. Which is really cool to see. I love just making sure that we're taking good setups. We're making sure that we're seeing good outcomes on our trades. Just that's all that matters in this life, man. It's just taking good setups. So, actually, ironically, as we're speaking, I just got a bearish setup again. So let's just look at that. Let me just clear out these out the way. We can delete that too because it's out of the way now. Boom. So we have a bearish setup here. I don't know how much I would want to keep trading in this PA, but again, we just kind of went back to a random time in the life. And I just want to give you guys setups. That's all that matters to me right now. So just giving you guys examples of trades that you could take. So boom, this candle, really solid. We're looking for hammers. We're looking for, again, just candles that are, the wick is bigger than the body plus the other wick. So boom, we got that right there. This is a pretty small trade. That's the problem with candles like this, is that when you do the 1-to-1 thing where you only see, in this case it would be 15 points over, it's really hard to get that, just because, I mean, obviously it's just very small, especially during the day. So something like this would just be a little bit too small for me, but again, we can just check it out. There's nothing wrong with that. But biggest thing here would be just making sure you guys are 218. I need to move this a little bit closer to this candle close right here. You just need to make sure that you guys are seeing good setups. That's really all it is. But what we have right here is we're looking for a break below. Okay, Bill. Okay, I was a little slow there. We got the break below. Now we're looking for a break back inside, close inside, and then a break back below. That's it. And the trade got validated. But dude, that's literally, I'm just like, I love that, bro, because you can just look at setups and see what happens without taking them. And of course, sometimes it's gonna be bad. You're gonna miss the entry. But I don't think the PA today was too hot during this time. And also, there's gonna be plenty of times when you do that shit and it doesn't go the way you want it. But every time I do this, man, the market is moving choppy. But this is another entry for longs right here. Looking pretty fine. Again, looking for hammers, looking for the same exact thing, basically this candle, but it's a lot bigger, which I really like. Now we're looking for a 3-minute break above. That is all we are doing. But let's see if we do get it. So boom, 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 holds, breaks above, bingo, right there. But looks like might have gone a little too far. I ain't gonna lie. This is the thing though. Yeah, we would have been. Oh no, we actually, if this does not have any top wick, we actually stay in this trade. Nope. Okay, but the one thing I do have a little bit, and it's actually happened a lot, which is weird because it's really happened a lot in the last couple of days. The candle will close exactly on the zone, exactly where I have the zone marked. Is that a break above? Is that a break below? I would say no. I would lean no. So this candle would be the one where we actually got the break above, because I wouldn't consider that a break above. It's just a break at the zone. So that would have been another one that we had a setup on. That's the main thing I just want you guys to see here is getting setups, because at the end of the day, this part is very easy. The break above, the retest, the break back above, that's very easy to do. But finding the candles that actually show some, actually, I guess, belief in a potential setup is where it's really hard to determine which candles I'm looking for entries off of. So let's just go forward a little bit into, I'd want to go into another day because this PA is pretty shitty. Let's go to 6 p.m. Let's just go all the way to, bang, this is 11 p.m. Let's go, keep going. Sorry, just elevator music, just okay. Boom, this is 7:30. Let's go to like 9, and then we'll do a couple more setups, and then we'll be Gucci. And I think you guys have seen enough. But right here we see 9:30 open. Boom, nothing just yet. This candle isn't horrible, but it's just not showing me anything super ideal. I wanted to go over this as well, just so you guys can kind of see. If you want to do this before every single day, I would recommend it. Again, finding the high of when you turn on the chart and the low of when you turn on the chart, just giving you a idea of the range that you might see for the day. And also, again, this is the hourly. If you're day trading, hourly is definitely the best for you. 4 hour gets a little too high, but a really good thing that you could do is, again, like I talked about in the little document, most recently we rejected off the high, so boom, that is where the side we're playing. We're playing shorts. So Uh, Again, this candle, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. This definitely it's valid to take a trade off of, but it's just for me again. If you really are going for A plus, then I wouldn't call this A plus. So we're gonna actually move off of it. But and I think the zone's actually the the wick's actually not big enough. But we will continue. We'll move. Let's see if we can get a short. We lean short sided today. That is the one big thing. It's just like you lean to one side off of the hourly highs and lows, but I'm not against playing longs, but shorts definitely would be my best interest today. So we're actually approaching that low right now. We got underneath it. That only makes us more short. No candles just yet giving me any sort of bias going into the day. Boom. That's actually a pretty decent entry for longs. And I don't mind that just because we rejected off of the hourly low. So let's just give it a shot. That is all we can do, fellas, is just give it a shot. So we're going to actually change the color of the zone just to make it a little bit easier for you to see. Boom. So now we have this 15-minute zone set up. We have the break above already right here. Now we're looking for a break back below. Nope. 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 Boom. Bang. Bang. Boom. Now let's get the break back above. Boom. Okay, so we're in this trade right here. So only issue here is that longs are not the actual side of the market right now, but I'm not fully against that. You know, it's something that is totally up to you to decide if you would want to take this trade or not. But again, we're just giving you guys setups. I'm trying to beat this into your skull that this is the way to take these trades. So right here, boom, we have the break back above. Again, I'm just going to write this out one more time, and then we're going to be done with this. I'm going to let you go. But 15-minute candle wick close. Okay. Then we're looking for a 4x mag. We're going to go on the 3-minute dash, 3-minute. Then we're looking for a break above zone close in parentheses. But, there's supposed to be a little parentheses on that close. Then we're looking for a retest zone close inside zone. Then we're looking for a break back above zone must close. Then at that point where we're at right now, we enter trade order filled. Then we go stop loss at low and we run a 1 2 1. And boom. This is what we have right here. Let's see if it plays out. Chopping, 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 get stopped out. This would be a good thing to see though. You're seeing how slow price is reacting in this area. We're seeing buyers see our shit get ordered, and we're seeing executions getting filled in this area. So that is good. The one thing I will say is the times that I have gotten stopped out, seriously, like genuinely, I'm seeing buys get exercised, and that's you must see that. If you trade in my Discord every single day, you see me, and I take trades, and you'll see the area where my stop loss is, and you'll see exactly what happened during that time, and you'll see in my drawdown, most of the time you'll see buyers or sellers, depending on what it is, get executed. So we'll see reactions in the area, and that's the big thing for me is we're making sure that we're holding our bias on one side, but we get a good setup, we take it. Doesn't matter if you go against the trend or not. It's just solely up to you. I wouldn't recommend it, and you guys see I would have got burnt here today, but at the end of the day, as long as you see buyers execute themselves in this area, it's not a bad trade. It's a win because at that point you guys are prop firm traders. You guys have no influence on the market at all. If you just believe there's buyers there, that is the best you can do. At that point, once you click the buy button, it's kind of just out in the void and you're just hoping to see a setup, man. So that is the one thing that I wouldn't be too upset with that. Pretty solid setup. Again, we got everything we wanted to see. Let's just get these out of the way and let's look for maybe another setup if we do get it quickly. Actually, I mean, this 15-minute candle right here would have been perfect for shorts, but we'll just keep going. Okay, boom. That's another long setup for me. What? Okay, let's just go. I'm not gonna gatekeep because of course, if I see what happens, but I don't think we get the entry. That's the thing. That's one of the good thing about this. Yep. So if you look and you zoom in, we actually did get a break above the zone. You guys see that right there? It's like a tick above the zone. Then we're looking for a break back low. We got it. But again, you need this to come back up and close above to then get the trade. So we actually saved our ass right here. So that is another thing that's really good about having this step-by-step filters because you're going to get so much more out of this than you normally would. Just taking the trade, seeing that, just getting in longs. So shorts are insanely the side right now. Holy crap! But it's not like we're not getting anything out of this. I feel like I remember this day honestly. Okay, so we got a short setup right here on this candle. Uh, let's see if we actually would have got stopped out of this though, because we obviously, you see that right there, we do go above. But that is another entry for this. But again, hindsight 2020, we would have probably taken it off this one first. So right here, boom. This is a perfect setup. But we actually wouldn't get stopped out of this. You know how I'm looking at it? Yeah, because look what happened. So first thing we need to see, we need to see a break below right here. Then we need to see a retracement, then a break below. Yeah, we wouldn't have got stopped out of this because you can see right here we almost got below, but we didn't. And then we had the retest, then we had the drop. Some people would have got in there if you were watched probably the first 15 minutes of this video. But again, we want to see a break below the zone. Then we want to see a retest. That is like, this is textbook, bro. So this is something I'd be really happy to take a trade off of. So we have this right here. Now, of course, step one, we're looking for the break below. We got that right here. Then we're looking for the retest close inside the zone. The reason why this is A plus for me is because this actually came above the zone, grabbed those orders, came right back down, closed within it. Then again, at that point, we don't have a setup or anything. Comes all the way back down. We get the setup right here. So this is a perfect setup. I love this. So, and this shows you sometimes you're gonna have a bigger stop loss than the actual zone itself, but you know that's just something you get with paying. You're just paying for confirmation sometimes. You know, I guess that's kind of what I call it. You know, nothing to be too upset about that for. Then we run a 47 point TP on this, 47.5 points. See what happens. Trend is very bearish, so I would be very surprised if this doesn't hit TP. Boom, we would have hit TP right there. That is a banger trade. Probably one of the best trades I've ever seen with this model. And you could have completely done it yourself. You would have completely avoided that complete bear trap that we had right there to get stopped out. Everybody would have seen this and got stopped out right here. But with this model, we don't see the break below until here. We see the retest right here. Then we need to see that next break below. And then we took that trade. And that is a absolute banger setup, bro. I just love trading this way. It's so fun and so easy and so consistent. You know, you're going to be going from B to C to D trades to all pretty much A trades as long as you follow your rules correctly. And the influence from this that I want to have, I hope as well. I want to write a book about this, bro. Like genuinely. And I do plan on releasing another model in the future. But for now, I think this is a really good start of something new. I want to add and do additions to this and make more and more and more as we go along. I want this to be my shit. I made this. Again, people might have other ways of doing this. People might do the same exact thing as me, and it's called like a inverse unicorn penis. But this is how I completely made this myself. Really happy with it. Really confident in how it works and what it can be and what this should be in the future. So I'm so excited for this. I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful for everything you guys have given me, and all I'm doing right now is just giving back to you guys. So please subscribe. You guys mean the world to me, and I hope that we can talk very soon. Subscribe. Use this strategy. Let me know how it goes. I want to see you guys making some money in the chat. And I will talk to you guys soon, bro. Subscribe, man.